Money can evoke lots of emotions within us, and especially in times of economically challenging seasons, and also if you're not from a wealthy background. But hey, it can cause a lot of nervous breakdowns. It can be a weird scenario, but well, there is still a chance for you to make smart money decisions. I am V, and welcome to the Social Spotlight. Ha! It's another Saturday to party, and hey, today we navigate personal finance management. Today I am hosting an expert in this field. I am so excited. She's my personal finance friend. She's here to get my finances in check. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us today. We are live on Instagram, and hey, let me invite my guest today to introduce herself. Most welcome, Lisa, to this show.
Thank you, Vivian.
If you could just tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and something about you. We want to be able to crush on you when you're not here.
Oh, those are really nice compliments, Vivian. Well, my name is Lisa Nandaula. I'm an accountant, I'm an auditor, I'm a tax and business consultant.
Yes. Guys, we are getting from that creme de la creme today. Did you hear that? Consultant, tax, and all that. So like I mentioned earlier, it is okay if you do not have your money in check. And also on the Social Spotlight, we are all mediocres. Okay, wrong choice of word. Don't come for me. But it is a learning phase. We are all here to learn how to get our money in check, how to be better. And hey, I've got to be a billionaire at some point. It does not just happen overnight. It takes in some work, yeah? So, Lisa, let's dive deep into this discussion. Let me put myself, for example. For us, many a times we have issues with our finances. We do not know the decisions we are making wrong. We do not know how to balance between money and all our other lifestyles. How do we get about it? And also, before we get that, what is personal finance management anyway?
Well, in simple terms, excuse me, personal finance management rotates around two major things: your earnings and how you spend your earnings. So earnings and expenditure of your earnings.
Right.
Yes. So you have to really be intentional on how you spend the money that you have earned. Because if you do not do that, then you're going to start questioning yourself where that money you're earning is going, and yet money needs to be directed where to go.
Speaking of where your money is going, reminds me of a scenario that I believe many people out there might be experiencing the same thing. For me personally, with all honesty, when I get my money today, it hits my bank account or even it hits my phone, I'm so excited. Money has come in, so I've already spent it, by the way, before it even comes.
It even lands on your bank account.
So by the time it lands, I don't know where this money goes. It just disappears. So is it that I keep telling, I don't want to refer to myself as being unlucky, because I don't believe in juju and all those things. But where does my money go? I can't explain it.
It's actually something very simple. It all goes back to one major thing: budgeting. So before your money lands on your account, you must have created or made a budget for how you're going to spend that money.
Madam, did you hear the part where I said I spend it before it even comes?
Now you're spending it in your mind, but physically you have not yet spent it. So
Right.
Ideally it's still on your bank account or on your mobile money account. However, you need to have a budget, and that budget can be flexible. For example, there are those constants in life. For example, if you have rent, if you have fuel for the month, that's transportation. Excuse me, to and from work. You have your normal groceries to take you through the month. However, before you even spend on that, there is this simple term called paying yourself first.
Right.
So by paying yourself first, it means by the time your money lands on your bank account or whichever account it lands on, it has to be already planned for and directed where to go.
So when you say pay myself first, me I'm thinking, or maybe somebody out there is thinking, okay, I have a salon appointment, I have to do my nails, I have to go eat some nice meal. Is that what you mean?
No, by paying yourself first, I mean you have to first put aside that money for the future in terms of savings or investment. Now you can do that by creating a standing order on your bank account. By the time your money lands on your bank account, you don't even see that money that you allocated to go away. You only remain with what you're going to spend.
The villager in me is thinking, what if I just get that money? I mean, tomorrow is not guaranteed, but enjoyment is guaranteed.
For sure, tomorrow is not guaranteed, but then you don't want to wake up at 40 and then start making money decisions at that time. And yet, you still have the chance to make those money decisions now. Because now, if you say, let's say I'm earning, you do not have to put aside a lot of money every month because you just go on building that habit.
Right.
For example, even if you say you're putting away like a 50K, 50,000 shillings every month, the moment it lands on your bank account, you have a standing order. It goes somewhere. And when I say somewhere, there are so many options nowadays. There are emergency funds. There are emergency funds. You can create an emergency fund for yourself by opening up a money market fund or a unit trust fund.
Now, what is a money market fund? Now, you're using technical terms that the local me cannot understand. Me, I want to know that, okay, maybe a money market fund, is this where I put my money in like a box somewhere at home?
No. You do not put your money.
When I need it, I just go.
You just go and
pick it.
Open and bring a knife and you bang it and you get out your money.
Yeah,
No.
yes.
By a money market fund, it is an investment. It is actually both. It depends on how you're using it. It is a form of saving money. However, even when you're saving it, it is earning you interest. It is much better than putting that money away, stacking it away in a piggy bank somewhere. It is much better than putting that money on a bank account. Because with a bank account, there are two issues. You have an ATM card. Anytime you can go and withdraw that money. And then also, when it's on your bank account, if let's say you have saved 1 million shillings, the face value is 1 million shillings, but the purchasing power has reduced.
Right.
So ideally, your purchasing power for that 1 million could be 800,000 because it has been eaten away by inflation. However, when you put your money away in something like a money market fund or a unit trust fund, your money is instead earning money on a daily basis.
I think we are entering an era where banks are going to start telling us, hey V, we regret knowing you now. I saw that somewhere, it was so hilarious.
I know, because like you're not really transacting with them.
Right.
However, even banks nowadays have, I think they have a memorandum of understanding with insurance companies, because now if you look at most of the money market funds and the unit trust funds, they are with insurance companies. And I can give you an example of ICEA money market fund. There is UAP.
Oh, okay.
UAP, umbrella trust funds. They have balanced funds.
What is a balanced fund?
We shall delve into that later.
Okay.
Yes. So Sanlam has also come on board, and I think Sanlam is in association with Standard Chartered Bank. So there are really so many options out there to really work on bettering your personal finances. You take one step at a time, one step at a time. And when you see your money making money passively, you'll even be motivated to start putting away more money.
Okay, let's look at a scenario whereby typically in Uganda, I think the average income for a decent corporate must be like 1 million to 1.5. Yeah. So how do we for me, okay, let's take an example of me. Let's say I'm earning 1 million per month and I have a goal. I've heard you constantly say that you have a goal of retiring at 40. And hey, I am hopping on the board of retiring at 40. So
Please
for me, who is
join me.
earning 1 million per month, starting as effective of today, 16th September 2023.
Yes.
How do I effectively achieve my goal of retiring at 40? Of course, realistically. As somebody who, I am young, I have all these bills coming up, I have to socially keep up with life, and then also there's no guarantee that the money will keep coming in.
Yes. So it's actually very good, Vivienne, that you've talked about there is no guarantee that the money will keep on coming.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the option of you putting money away or aside for purposes of saving or investment, the earlier you start doing it, the better. Because if you realize the more we grow, the more the responsibilities.
True.
And the less money you have at your disposal to save. However, if you started that habit earlier, it gets stuck within you. You become so intentional about it. And when you stick to that principle of paying yourself first, Vivienne, you do not touch that money that you said you're going to be putting away every month. Because let's say you've put a standing order on the bank account. The moment your 1 million lands like this, the 100,000, the 200,000 goes. So you have ideally either 800,000 or 900,000 to spend.
Right. Wow.
And ideally it should be that the more your income increases, the more you put aside. Not that the more your income increases, the more your expenditure increases. So you have to really be intentional about making sure that
Finances work
your
for you.
finances are in order, and the earlier the better.
Why are we in times of whereby money has to rule us? I think sometimes I feel like I just want to wake up. I don't know if Delulu is taking over, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I just want to wake up one day and have too much money whereby I don't even have to work. I just want to do, okay, maybe before I go further, this is how I picture my life. This single hot girl who is a billionaire, I can do whatever I want. I just wake up one day, I'm like, today man, I feel like chilling somewhere in the Maldives. Off I go book the air ticket and go. But now, see me here.
Yeah.
A rich girl in a broke girl's body.
Well, that's quite funny.
In Kampala, hustling.
Of course.
Like,
now, you see how you've talked about waking up and you're like, you know what, today I don't feel like working. I'm booking a plane to the Maldives, Santorini, Ibiza. But you have no plan. You haven't yet put your finances in order. Because how are you going to pay for that air ticket? How are you going to pay for that air ticket?
I honestly don't know. I just know that I want to go there. I think now it makes a lot of sense why my finances just keep disappearing. Because like I said earlier, 1 minute I have the money, and the next I don't. And with all honesty, if I came to you and I told you, Liz, I have the money now, and then I don't know how to explain it.
And you can't even tell me it went here.
No.
It went here.
I can't.
Or it went there.
Because I can't even see the returns. I can't.
Because now you're not budgeting. You're not budgeting.
Oh, wow.
Before you spend your money, it has to have a budget. Such that something doesn't just come in and you're like, hey, V, I feel like going to Zanzibar. Are you available? Vivian, you tell me no, Liz. I'm not available. My finances,
The
my
Vivian in me
budget.
will just say yes. I don't have the money. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I've said yes.
Actually, you tell someone my budget for this month is quite tight. Can we sell for it like for a year?
Wow. I need to talk to you a lot more, I think.
Yes, because now you're talking to me who is telling you I have planned my money.
Right.
I even have a plan B, a plan C. You understand? But I'm bringing you on board who you haven't even put aside that extra money aside and you're jumping on board with me. The other option, you could ask me, are you paying? If I say yes, I am, you're like, I'm coming. Why? We go, you understand? But however, if your finances are not yet planned, you're really, now these days there is that common slogan, planned wife, planned kid, planned, you're going with a planned babe. You who is not planned.
Unplanned.
You're unplanned.
I think now
And you're jumping onto the dreams of a
I think now
planned
that
babe.
also makes a lot of sense. And the fact that I feel like many a times we do not have honest discussions with ourselves about money. Yeah, I feel like even in a group of friends, we in this era, I don't know about you, but there are certain groups of people whereby they cannot have honest money conversations. We just want to fit in.
You can't even, Vivian, if you ask most of your close friends how much they earn, they won't tell you. And then again, Vivian, let's say you are making your expenditures. Could be you're competing with someone. That person is earning, let's say, 3 times more than you. They have 3 or more income streams. And then you also want to live the lifestyle they are living
without
knowing how they are making things happen. So you need to sit down and be realistic with yourself. Because as you said, that I say, I want to retire at 40.
True, but now also, let's put this realistically to me. I think we as young people in this era, we are the most depressed people with happy faces. Yeah?
Sure thing.
Now, you are going to find a 1V. I am maybe totally depressed, and you can't express that publicly to people. But these are things that are constantly happening to not just me or even people out there. But I can't, now when you tell me to audit myself, first of all, what if I'm in an era whereby I have too much going on? Maybe 1 minute I'm hopping onto event planning, 1 minute I'm hopping onto this. Like, I'm all over the place, and I believe there are very many people all over the place. So I want to honestly put my life in place. But then also, one thing I've realized that for you to get out of that phase, nobody can help you out of it. It has to be a personal initiative. You understand?
Yeah,
you need to save yourself.
thing.
But then look at me. I am battling something. I can't focus straight. And then there's, hey, audit yourself. How do I even start?
Vivian, that kind of thing takes time. You have to do what they call self-awareness. Sit down with yourself, discover who you are on a deeper level. Discover what are you good at. And if you discover that, what are your weaknesses? Then after you've discovered what you're good at, what are you passionate about? Then how can you monetize it?
Right.
Then that way, sometimes we think in order to put our finances in check, we need to have a main job. We need to have 3 side hustles or 4 side hustles. Actually, no. You can have your main job and it has 3 or more income streams.
In one.
That very job.
Tell me about your experience with that. You seem to have a lot of experience in the whole same job being the side hustle.
It is not actually experience. It also took me time because I would also be like, God, I need a side hustle. Till one time I realized that actually what I do is my own side hustle. For example, I'll give the one example I'll give is when I was introducing myself, I said I'm an accountant, I'm an auditor, I'm a tax and business consultant. Those are 4 streams of income.
Eish, rich auntie.
No, I'm not a rich auntie. It also took time for me to really discover myself. I know that. Because I'll give you an example. When someone comes to me and they say, Lisa, I want you to help me with taxation issues, the first thing I ask, do you have a registered company or business? No. Business consultancy comes in. I register your company, I register your business name. Because
Impressive.
before I go to do even the taxation, I have to ask, do you have a TIN number? Now taxation is coming on board, but I've done business consultancy. Then taxation comes in. I get for your TIN number, then we start. Now when we start, like you've gotten a TIN number, I see how you're trading. I tell you, you need an accountant.
I have a lot to learn from you, ma.
You understand? I'm an accountant too. So yours are, now those are now how many? 3 services.
Services, right.
So after accounting, you're going to tell me at the end of the year, you need your books of accounts to be audited. I'll tell you, I have an audit firm.
Now, I think typically here, I don't know how we are going to do it. Okay, let alone, I think for you, you've now reached an extent where you have realized your self-worth. You're like, you know what, I am embracing it. This is me, this is my worth, and I'm shoving it down everybody's throat. Now, for many people, like even me inclusive, we do not know how to price our services. Because with all honesty, if I was to borrow that mod, Lisa, I would be somewhere else in my life, because people are going to constantly make inquiries, but you don't even know how to tell them, but hey, by the way, I charge for this service before you proceed. How do we do that, you know? How do you realize, reach that level of self-awareness
and discovering your self-worth? Well, Vivienne, as I said, it takes time. It really takes time. Because also me, I think it's because of my background that I had. Given that I started out in an audit firm. So there is nothing you could tell my former boss that you couldn't do. She would really train you to be an all-around person.
Wow.
In that, you could audit like 4 clients at one time. From this one, in one day, you're running from one client to another. Now, as you're auditing, after auditing the client, the same person, you're expected to come and prepare the books of accounts, work on the audit file. After that, you're going to, you yourself, not even your boss, you're going to invoice that client, deliver the invoice to the client, pick the check, not even take it to the assistant in office to bank it. This so poor me, who even was used to my dad doing everything for me.
Planned kid.
Not a planned kid. So the first time I went to a client, they gave me a check, and I asked them, what do I do this? What am I going to do this with? And they were like, I called my boss, I'm like, I have a check from this client, can I bring it to office? She told me, no, go to DSCU and bank it. I was like, how do I fill in a check deposit slip? How? My boss told me, I need a check deposit slip stamped on file. I had to figure out how to bank that check. Now, you see whereby audit firms, some audit firms even have like a printery. For us, you would print out your own accounts, edit them,
What?
bind them.
Okay.
You understand? So I remember one time I told my dad, you know what? This life is too hard. And my dad was like, what? Because I remember I worked like for 1 year whereby they were training me. And I'm like, man, I can't be a graduate with a degree and I'm earning this money. My dad sat me down and he was like, you know what? How much money do you want to earn? And I told
Dad
him,
over, yeah.
and I told him what I wanted to earn. He told me, okay, I'll give it to you. But Vivian, when he told me I'll give you that money, this is where the twist comes in. I told him, Daddy, no. If you can facilitate me transport every day to and from work and lunch, I would greatly appreciate that, but leave the salary. Because he was going to enable me. He was going to enable me. And relatedly, he also has employees who are even seeking an increase in salary. So it is coming to me, the daughter. I told him, Daddy, no, I'll figure it out. So that thing pushed me to the edge.
So what made you change your mind about that? What made you say no to the salary? Because do you know how many people would hop onto that opportunity?
Because I realized it wasn't going to give me the satisfaction that I wanted. It was actually going to enable me in such a way that I would say, even if I don't go to work, Daddy will pay me at the end of the month. But I needed to wake up and know, hey babe, what if Daddy is no longer there? And I remember when I told him, just facilitate me. He told me, now sit down. Give yourself 3 years in that audit firm. By the time you get out, you will make one hell of an auditor.
Was it worth it?
It was worth it.
Well, we are giving you your flowers.
It was worth it because I worked, and at that time I used to look at my boss like a very bad lady. Because she should also do certain things and I would even cry in front of her. And weirdly, however much she was tough, she would look at me and smile. And the next day, I would really come back to work.
Interesting.
I think she was really molding me to really be tough in this world, because I thought she would say, a big girl like you, you're crying in my farm. I'll hold you. But I think she understood, and she's like, if that is her way of letting out her frustrations, her emotions, that's very okay with me, but I need you to work. And then also, I think the kind of mentors I had in that audit firm, they were really grown up women, and they told me work. Because, you know, one thing I also know about money is today it's there, tomorrow it's known.
Ask
but
me, I know.
That entirely depends on your planning process, on your personal finance management.
Okay, this is what we're going to do from now and on. Whether you want or not, you're going to teach me how to budget.
Very fine.
Because I am tired of money landing and I cannot explain how it has disappeared. Because I feel like there's a lot of things I want to achieve, and of course, including retiring at 50. I would want to be admirable in society. I would want to mentor young people, but also you need to have a mentally sane mind. Yeah, and I want to embark on a 30 days journey where I am mentally and financially helping myself.
And that's very achievable. However, it takes intentionality. It takes intentionality for you to step out of your comfort zone and say, here I am turning my finances around. Even if it is one step at a time, I'm doing it. As I told you, Vivian, you do not have to first put our 100,000, even if it's 50 first. But however, if you're to take the route of, my money has landed. Let me first parent, self-care, transport.
Duh, a girl has
By
got to
the time you do
girl.
all that, you have zero money at hand. However, when you go with the pay yourself first principle or rule, you're going to be forced to live
Your comfort zone.
within your means or below your means, because ideally most of us are living even above our means. We have so
should we
many
be hiding?
people. Do you know, Vivian, there are people who you can earn more than me, but my personal finances are in check more than you.
I believe you because
And even you come to me to lend you money, who earns?
I believe you because I was raised by a single mother who is a civil servant and in the medical sector. And we know how these people earn. But this is a woman who has single-handedly raised over 30 children. She's made sure they've gone to school. So I always wondered, how did she do it? Because she was earning little money. Yeah. So I kept asking myself, how is she able to do all these things for us without complaining?
She managed her finances well. But oh well, you could actually sit down with her and ask her, Mommy, how did you do it? But all I know is personal financial management, it is a choice.
Right.
It is, as we say, personal, it is subjective. You have to sit down and say, I want to achieve this. Have your own money goals set aside. You can have an annual goal, can break down into semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly.
Wow.
For example, I have a target for my emergency fund. And I broke it down to annually, semi-annually, quarterly, and monthly. Now, that means I divide that amount by 12 months.
Okay.
Then I say, every month I have to strive to put aside this money. Because one thing you should know is, Vivian, proper financial management gives you options.
I can imagine.
It gives you choices.
Tell me about it.
It gives you the ability to say no to something, because you're not entirely relying on your job. However, if you're entirely relying on your job, and even what you're earning from your job, you're not managing it well, you're going to retire at 80. You know, there is this podcast I recommended to you, Rich Auntie Chats.
Yes.
Or there is a certain episode whereby there is a certain lady who was talking about her money goals, how she was able to save and invest 300 million.
USD?
No,
Ugandan shillings?
Tanzanian shillings. In 3 months. Sorry, 3 years. 3 years, meaning each year she would put away 100 million.
Wow.
And she said she would save 3 million every month. Meaning for her that means, could be it was entirely from her salary, could be she combined it with her other income streams. And Vivian, when I listened to her, I was like, wow, this is achievable. It could not be 3 million. You could start with 500,000. You could start with 1 million. But also remember, the more you bet on yourself, the more you achieve even beyond what you have bet on yourself to achieve. And also, there is also the spiritual thing. The more you tell God that I want to achieve this, and say, you know what, I'm starting up this emergency fund. Then even the 50K simanje kagenda kuva. Vivian, at the end of the year, you check
The power of manifestation.
you know, and that money market fund has 5 million Ugandan shillings. And you're like, but now how? How did it come about? Because we are supposed to direct our money where to go, and money is
Right.
supposed to work for us,
Right.
not for us to work,
To work for money. Hey, do you know how many of us are working for money right now?
No, money has to work for us, whereby even if they delay to pay salary, you do not worry. You are comfortable with where you are, and life can go on. There are other means and other sources of income you can rely on. However, you need to tell where your money has to go through budgeting.
Wow, this is a talk that I want to have over and over and over again. But well, Lisa, I really want us to do another episode. This has been an amazing discussion. Perhaps you could give us your parting shots.
Well, my parting shots will be, everything is possible. And with personal financial management, you have to tell yourself that you can make it.
Right.
And it has to be a personal choice. Direct your money where you want it to go through budgeting, and hey, have money goals. I believe through that, everything is workable and achievable.
Right. Thank you so much, Lisa, and thank you to everybody who has been on Instagram Live. And wow, for me, my take home today has been mostly 2 things. Number 1, budgeting, 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 budgeting. I don't know how strongly I can emphasize the point of budgeting. I am terrible at budgeting, but hey, from today onwards, you and we are going to learn how to budget, and we're going to ace this. And the second thing for me has been breaking habits. We as young people, we have bad money habits, but guess what? It is never too late for us to hop on the board to do the right thing. So guys, like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a journey where we both learn how to grow wealth, how to better our finances. And hey, thank you once again for joining today. It's been amazing to have you on board, and cheers.